Kate Daly Show.
You can run on for a long time, run on for a long time, run on for
Welcome back. You're listening to the Kate Daly Show, katedalyradio.com, giving you our thoughts and so much to say. Also, make sure that you text Birch Gold. I'm telling you, I had Philip on yesterday. He was talking about the difference, Harris-Trump economies, what that would look like, and also buy gold and silver. It's a really good idea. You know, it's hard to call it a storm because it's been so devastating. So the Hurricane Helene that hit Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina. On that note, one of the biggest things that came out of that were people saying, oh my gosh, make sure you have cash on you. Oh my gosh, make sure you have something to pay with that is not electronic, because even the keys at hotels were based on having the internet. I mean, you could not do anything without the internet. You couldn't get gas, can't do anything. It's all hooked up. And so make sure you have cash. And it's a really good lesson. Just please text Birch Gold 989898, and then those 6 digits, just that's the phone number, and then text my name, Kate, Kate. That's it. Just Kate. Send it off right now. You're going to get back some free information that was just updated. You're going to want to hear or read what they have to say, and it's free to you. Okay. They're going to help you get sort of solidified too, if you want to go that direction and back everything with gold and silver and stop the inflation that's about to happen from the storm and from the strike. And you had a thought about the strike, Susan, before we get into the politicians, and then, of course, Julian.
Oh, yeah. Just the strike going back for, 100 plus years under, basically, it's a monopoly. It's under criminal control. And you have the leader saying we're going to strangle the country with this. So who benefits, right? They think they're benefiting by keeping the jobs.
Yeah.
And everything else around the world has been going robotic. And that is inevitable, just like with car companies. It's machines and robots that build them. Yes. So this is a last gasp, and we'll see, because his associate, who was brought up on a RICO case with him, was found decomposing in the trunk of a car. So these are the hardcore, mafia, Genovese, especially up north. This is, you don't fool around with the longshoremen. And Donald Trump knows these people. Like he does. Had to deal with these people through the years.
So one thought on that. We talked about the automation thing on the break, and we talked about it on the show. We had a great call yesterday about that, about the automation. Yes, it's coming in. They're not going to be able to fight that. You don't see too many people fighting the automation or striking for that reason. And it could be very manipulated in that way, so that most of us are going, well, gosh, we want the automation. We don't want the automation. And so that is a good reason to strike. And I wonder if that was sort of an implanted manipulation just to get people so they weren't angry at these people for striking, because if this lasts a long time and what it can do to the economy, for every 1 day of strike takes 4 to 5 days to make up for it in the economy, or 4 to 5 days to set that 1 day right. So the last one was 45 days. If this one's long, then it really is going to it's going to be bad. And so I wonder if that was sort of a manipulated thing, because I don't see any big industry striking because of that. Do you?
Well, no.
Other than them?
Somebody pointed out that Joe Biden could have postponed this for 60 days, that it was within his power to postpone it, and he chose not to, which makes it look really bad for him and Kamala, unless she is supposed to swoop in
Save the day.
Look like she solved it.
I know. I have a good friend that said that to me yesterday. She's going to swoop in and try to claim this as her big win because she doesn't have anything. And I thought, that's very, very, very possible. Very possible. It's disgusting, but that's how all of DC operates. So there you go. Let's talk about the politicians and insurance.
Oh, yeah. So
because we were talking about the insurance scamming people.
Yes. And why they're not held accountable if they're shown to be defrauding customers. It's because it is who is getting paid by the insurance company. So politicians know insurance companies are very, very deep pocket people with the big, big bucks, probably more money than the banks even. And so that's why the insurance companies get to write their rules by their politicians. And then you have an insurance mess in Florida like you have now. Hopefully that
Yes.
won't happen in North Carolina. But, if you can't afford your insurance premiums on your house and the replacement costs, then you can't live there.
You know what? And you thought that, and I actually agree with you because I thought it was a great point that you were making too, is they're really trying to dissuade people. Oh, why would you want to have a house? And why would you want to have a house in Florida? Right?
Yes, they're
That's
saying,
a lot of the story.
These whole neighborhoods are trying to sell out now that there's been these storms and nobody's buying. And so they know that there's been a massive exodus from the Northeast to Florida and also from California to Texas and Florida. They're trying to stem that flow of voters because those are congressional, seat numbers.
Yes.
So, when the narrative starts to turn like, oh, nobody wants to buy these sad houses.
Yes. And why own a house? Because you might have to make that mortgage and the insurance company could mess you over and probably will. And so therefore, why go through all of that? That narrative is huge.
Yes. Yes. Very powerful image of a rotting house that the insurance company won't fix, but that the owner said, I still have to make mortgage payments on it. And you go, oh, wow.
And the other thing is Hormala talking about the capital gains thing and saying, oh, see, you won't even get your equity. I mean, that's really what raises you up into different income classes, right? Is your equity and stuff, right? And growing that dream. Well, you won't get that either. So they're really going after home ownership.
Yeah, and if you pay increased taxes on those unrealized capital gains when your house appreciates, if it's hit by a storm, insurance company won't fix it. Yeah. Now it is depreciated. You don't get your taxes back. I mean, let's not be naive. The government does not refund your taxes for those appreciated gains that are now less than zero.
You know what? The game I love, it's an offshoot comment, but the game I love is when they try to up your taxes. So they go with the very low amount on your property or your house to try to smooth that over. Oh, see, it's not that much. It's, it's only the small amount because we're devaluing your house. And then when they come back for the taxes, it's the higher amount. I mean, there's just so many games that they play and they're so dishonest. I just love to meet somebody in government that's actually honest at this point.
Yeah. Oh, I think you would go.
So gross.
The honest people go crazy.
Yeah,
they look at the numbers, they look at the system, and they kind of go crazy. Well, speaking of honesty, let me just segue to Julian Assange, who gave his first press conference after making a deal with the government to be let out of Belmarsh prison. And he said, I basically pled guilty to journalism. That was my sin, practicing journalism. And what he said about what they did to him was so astonishing. First of all, he said, yes, Director Pompeo had an assassination order out on me. And John Stossel previously had said, oh, but that would be illegal. He said, yeah, but he needed to do that. And he said, we know that under Pompeo's direction, explicit direction, the CIA drew up plans to kidnap and assassinate me in London, authorized going after my European colleagues, subjecting us to theft, hacking attacks, and planting false information. Who knew? My wife and son were also targeted. A CIA asset was permanently assigned to track my wife. Now get this, shocking. Instructions were given to obtain DNA from my 6-month-old son's diaper. This is the testimony of more than 30 current and former U.S. intelligence officials speaking to the U.S. press, and records seized in a prosecution brought against some of the CIA agents involved. He said, this is his culminating thing. The CIA's targeting of myself, my family, and my associates through aggressive extrajudicial, outside the law, extraterritorial means the world is our campus, means provide a rare insight into how powerful intelligence organizations engage in transnational repression. Because he came out and said in 2017, the CIA has infiltrated.
We're going to come right back. Okay, we're going to come right back on that point. I have a couple points to make too, to the contrary on Julian, but we'll be right back. More with Susan Reeve when I come back. Kate Daly Show.
Thanks for listening to The Kate Daly Show. All opinions expressed by the program participants on The